welcome back to the second episode of the obscure Game Faceoff. Last episode, we reviewed two games, neither of which were particularly good games, so I'd imagine that the chances that the hidden gem will be overtaken this episode should be pretty high. The hidden stinker on the other hand, like come on, would any game be worse than the Basildon recycling game? Surely not. Surely not, right guys? Unloneliness Mosquito. Okay, is this a oh, it's not a popular game. There's no comments. Okay, good. Our third game is known as Unloneliness Mosquito, and the misspelled title is probably not a good indication for things to come. Anyway, back to the subject of unloneliness? What does that even mean? Anyway, what would this game be about? And yes guys, I will be using the term game very loosely here. So basically, you control this mosquito spider thing, and you have to go suck this sleeping guy's blood by touching them 4 times. And yes, that's the whole game. I can even show you. Okay. This is a game. Okay. Alright, let's suck the blood in. Okay, I guess that's it. I guess we just suck blood 4 times and we win. So this is the level of games we're reviewing, huh? The realization of what I've gotten myself into. Anyway, on to the review, as if this game really needs it. The good. The meh. The graphics are mediocre at best, though one side of the room is just a wall with absolutely nothing on it. The mosquito's controls are also simple and pretty easy to control. The bad. The mosquito model, the buggy movement after collision, the lack of sounds, and of course the elephant in the room, the 10-second gameplay. With all that being said, I will be giving this game an appalling 0.8 out of 10. I am aware that this might be the developer's first game, but well, it's just barely a game, so I can't really do much about the rating. Well, this game just took the hidden stinker spot away in a convincing fashion from the recycling game. Honestly, I can't be too mad or disappointed at this. I've brought this upon myself by playing the most obscure games in the internet, most of which are probably obscure for a reason, and this one definitely being a concrete example. But well, similarly to the maker of the Basildon recycling game, the developer of this game has made much better games as well, so good on them, and I recommend you guys check their other games out. Alright, let's move on to the next game. I really hope that it's going to be a lot better than this one. Let's go to the next game here. Flying Vikings. Oh, this seems like a game. Our fourth game of the series will be the Flying Vikings by NYFA Studio 16. A bunch of New York Film Academy students doing this as a class project, which I honestly find is really cool. Anyway, in this game, you play as some sort of fire mage as indicated by the staff, trying to survive against an onslaught of raging Vikings for 2 minutes using some fire spell and a bomb. You may be thinking, oh wow, this looks fun, blowing Vikings up into oblivion and all that stuff. But one incomplete feature that completely ruins that immersion is that the Vikings are unkillable. Sure, maybe it's an intentional feature so that you knock them out of the arena, kind of like Super Smash Bros, but I kind of doubt it because there's an enemy kill text on the screen that doesn't have any values, so I feel like it's more likely that they just didn't have the time to program that. Surviving the full 2 minutes of the timer is honestly really difficult because you'll most likely be overwhelmed by the hard to kill Vikings, though it may just be me having journalist level gaming. I did, however, find a trick that involved standing on a boulder and shooting down on it that makes me invincible, as the Vikings that attempt to climb the boulder get knocked back down. I did also win without this exploit by staying in the corners of the map where Vikings don't rush me from all directions. Now on to the review. The good. I really like the game's voxel style graphics. I find them very charming, and best of all, they seem to be custom made by these students, and if so, kudos to them. Though I'm sorry to say that in all honesty, that's where all the good stuff ends. But hey, at least this game has something going for it, right? The meh. The gameplay is pretty chaotic for like the first 30 seconds, and then it falls completely flat. The music used is from Chrono Trigger, which is always a banger, but it's not original. The sound design is also serviceable, I guess. Both the spell and bomb sounds are exactly the same, which doesn't really make much sense. Vikings, right? Yeah, it's fun to shoot the Vikings around, but like... Though I like their other sounds like their win and lose screens because I assume that the sounds are made by them, which is pretty cool.
You win. You lose.
The bad. Despite the game's potential to become a half-decent game, the bugs caused by the incomplete and rushed nature of the development really brings it down. The unkillable Vikings and non-functional scoring system are the two biggest bugs that bring the game down the most, making it a game that's absolutely not replayable at all due to the lack of a score to thrive for. They did plan on making an endless difficulty judging from the main menu's endless button, but if you click that, the game closes, so it's not really implemented yet. One last annoying bug is if you win the game, you're stuck on the win screen until you Alt F4 the game, further diminishing its already non-existent replayability. So, with all that being said, I will be rating this game a 4 out of 10, making the Flying Vikings our newest hidden gem. Its better graphics and more chaotic gameplay honestly vastly outshines the positives of the Olympic archery game, but the only reason why it scored only very slightly more is solely from its rushed and incomplete state of the game from school project constraints, preventing me from rating it any higher. Nevertheless, congratulations to our newest hidden gem, and now we move on to the next game, the fifth and final game of this episode. Would it overtake Flying Vikings as our newest hidden gem? Or God forbid, it takes Unloneliness Mosquito as our newest hidden stinker? Hopefully not. We'll see in the next game. Vikings 4 out of 10. There we go. Alright, here we go. Let's head to the next game. Alright, what do we get? Domino Traverse. A browser game made in HTML5. Ludum Dare! Oh, I know this, like, contest. Okay, very cool that they... I think Ludum Dare is like making a game in like a 48 or 24 hour span and see how it turns out. I really like these type of challenges. Right, let's play. Let's try it out. This game is an endless runner game where you control a blue square that tries to land on domino blocks that fall as you crash or land on them. Similar to other endless runner games, the objective is to not fall to your death for as long as possible to achieve a better score. To maximize your time of survival, you'll need to strategically utilize abilities that cost power as highlighted below. Landing on the domino blocks will give you a small amount of power, and obviously landing on the gold ones give you even more. The first ability is an essential jump which costs 5 power when you're on the air and costs nothing when you're on the ground. The second ability is a boost ability that speeds you up a lot, which could both be a blessing or a curse depending on how you time it and also how lucky the domino placements are. The third ability, Block, freezes time and allows you to place a strategic block to help stop falling dominoes or even stop yourself in certain situations, such as blocking yourself from overshooting a gold domino block. You'll see later that I found a game-breaking exploit utilizing this ability, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. The fourth ability, Lock, allows you to completely freeze all physics from any domino you click on, and the fifth and last ability, Freeze, freezes physics from all the domino blocks for 5 seconds. This is genuinely a game I enjoyed, though as a Ludum Dare game, it is definitely not free from game-breaking exploits. Remember when I said I found a game-breaking exploits using the block ability? Here, let me show you. Well, would you look at that? I have found a game-breaking bug using the block ability and nothing else pretty much. It's a bit hard to pull off, but you'll eventually get a perfect angle to do this. So yeah, from this we could also know that the gold domino gives 5 to 12 power. I could pretty much just stay here and watch my score go up to infinity. Alright, now on to the review. The good. Infinite power exploit aside, Domino Traverse's gameplay is by far and a long shot the best in the whole series. There's quite a bit of strategy and timing involved for scoring high here, which makes the game pretty addicting and replayable as well. Though there will be points I will discuss later about why I feel this game isn't too replayable, so stay tuned for that. Having a how to play button in the menu with detailed instructions is really good to have as well, especially for a game made in only 2 days. The meh. The graphics are just literal squares and rectangles with the exception of the power-up icons, which are simple but effective. But again, you all know the drill, this was made in like 2 to 3 days, so it's totally understandable and commendable that they prioritize gameplay over graphics. The sound design is simple and suits the game well. The bad. As shown in the infinite power or score exploit I showcased before, the block ability is absolutely broken. And now, let me show you yet another reason why it's absolutely broken. Take a look! Oh no, I think I just trapped myself. I think this run is dead now, whoops. A whoopsie daisy. I could think of a lot of solutions for this, such as maybe having a wall of death slowly approach the player to prevent the player from stalling too much, or putting the player out of their misery when soft-locked. Maybe also limit the amount of blocks placed to 1, and having the block vanish over time would be a good first step to making the ability exploit or soft-lock free. As for the infinite power exploit, allowing the player to obtain power only once from each domino is probably the best solution for that. Now to address why I think this game isn't too replayable. Very simple really, a lack of difficulty scaling. I got a run to the 4-digit range even before knowing about the exploit, and felt like I could still go on forever. Even without the exploit, once you figure out how the game works and find a proper strategy, you can probably survive forever. One idea I propose is the wall of death solution stated before, that gets faster or less lenient as the player's score goes up, maxing out its speed equal to the player's speed so that perfect movement or using all the remaining power from jumps or boosts is required. And well, that's it. What can I say? Kudos to the game developer for making a very fun game in the span of only 2 to 3 days, which is still unbelievable to me. But well, my score isn't going to be crazy high for this game because of the game-breaking exploit and the game being really simple due to the nature of the contest. And thus, I will be giving Domino Traverse a score of 6 out of 10, which blows our previous hidden gem, Flying Vikings, out of the water. Congratulations! And well guys, that is it for episode 2. And boy, it was quite the episode. We went from playing a 10-second game to an unfinished school project to an actually decent but very exploitable game made for a Ludum Dare contest. These next games are going to be an insane batch of obscure games, so stay tuned for the final episode of Season 1. Take care and have a good one guys, see you next time.